Lots riding on G20 this weekend. Are we going to get a move to tariff all Chinese goods at 25%? And it's driving a lot of interest among American brands in Vietnam as a hedge, because this country already makes things like touch screens for your iPhone, Ford Focuses, brake cables, and all of that. Take a look at this table out of JP Morgan. They went and looked at, for retailers, the estimated price hike you would need to offset a move to the full 25%. This assumes no mitigation from a vendor negotiation, nothing from Forex, 21% at Costco, 18% at Best Buy, about 17% at Walmart and Target. So it's really no surprise that the factories here are in the catbird seat. Customers are calling saying, hey, can I add more to my long-standing order? We went to one factory that makes Nike fleeces and jackets for Calvin Klein. Obviously, their phone is ringing off the hook. We're going to show you more of that coming up in the 8 a.m. hour. The question then is for Vietnam, where are they going to find the workers to make all this new stuff? Vocational schools are a big deal here. The government has a goal of training 2 million people in vocational schools. China's been doing that for 2 decades, so they have a huge army ready and waiting, obviously. We talked to one professor at this school about whether the Vietnamese really want this kind of training.
A lot of them still want to follow the academy system, go to university, to learn with the course with 5 years or 4 years. So it's not easy for them to choose or to change to vocational system. So that's why still lacking people to work in the high skill area.
So all day today, we're going to take you inside the factories here in Vietnam that are seeing more activity. We're going to show you the ports and talk about whether or not they can move this stuff out of the country, even if they were able to make it. And then we'll ask the question, what if there's a deal at G20 or sometime in the next few weeks? Do all of Vietnam's dreams of taking that mantle from China simply go away? So a lot of coverage coming up today live from Hanoi. We're pretty excited about it.
Well, Carl, that's what I was going to ask you about. I mean, we spoke with the head of Brooks Running Shoes, who told us that he had moved his production out of China, trying to get into Vietnam before they were full up. If there was just going to be a time when Vietnam couldn't take any more additional players trying to come in. How complicated is it, though, once you've moved your supply chain? Do you think it's likely that people would switch back to China even if there was a deal to come? Because, you know, that it's not it's not like flipping a switch and saying, OK, we're moving here.
Oh, no, it's so complicated just to vet the vendor, find the inventory, get the distribution, as we said. So you're right, it's hugely complex. And you got to also consider your category. Do you have pricing power? What's price elasticity like in that category? I would say in things like shoes and footwear and apparel, it's a lot easier than in high tech, where you're really relying on workers that have high skill level. But it's a key concern for Vietnam. They'd already been stealing share from China because China's labor costs have been going up over time. So Vietnam could sort of argue, hey, you get a deal on your labor here. But now that Samsung's here, they've added a new cell phone factory, wages here are beginning to creep up. So it's a really interesting story. I would not want to be a supply chain manager these days. It's really complicated.
Is the labor component almost equivalent if they've kind of crept up in both markets?
Well, obviously, China's got 100 in Guangzhou alone, where they make a lot of this stuff, a standing army of tens of millions of migrants that come into the cities to work. This population of Vietnam's 95 million people, a portion of that in manufacturing, so they don't have nearly the available workforce to get people coming in from the countryside. The other thing, Beck, is that Vietnam's kind of an agrarian economy. They're the world's 3rd largest exporter of rice. And they're not just going to simply give that up to take a chance that working in a sewing factory is going to be a lifelong occupation. So they're trying to manage their risk as well.